There was a lot of excitement about the upcoming 2024 quarterback class, but after watching a good amount of these guys play up to this point of the college football season, I think that this quarterback class is getting really overhyped. Outside of Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, and Bo Nix, I wouldn't draft any other of these quarterbacks in the first round. Like Michael Penix, he's a really intriguing prospect, but I don't really know if he's worth the first round pick. Like maybe it's because he's a left-hander and his playing style is a kind of unorthodox to me. It's just that his footwork is just a little bit sloppy to me. Like, yeah, he does go through his progressions here and there. It's just I don't know about Michael Penix. I need to see a little bit more out of him. I don't really think he's a first round caliber quarterback. I would take him in the second round, but he has an extensive injury history. He also is somebody who isn't as athletic as a guy like Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, and Bo Nix are. And even though the potential is a little bit high because he does have a really strong arm, he probably has the second strongest arm in college football behind Joe Milton. I just don't really know about him being the first round prospect. JJ McCarthy, I think he is insanely overhyped. Anytime I've seen JJ McCarthy go up against a good team, he's looked above average at best. Like he struggled against TCU. I don't really think he had the greatest game against Ohio State, and I'm really eager to see how he plays against a really good Penn State defense in the next couple of weeks. But I don't really see him as a first-round quarterback until he can prove to me that he can actually perform against a really good team. Like it's easy for him to have these kinds of good performances against Eastern Carolina and Bowling Green and Rutgers when Michigan just has so much more talent than them. He's having great protection with them having the best offensive line in college football. They got a great defense. I just don't really know about JJ McCarthy trying to picture him and label him as a first round pick just yet. Like, yeah, he has good size, good athleticism, and a really good arm, and he does have pretty high potential, but right now, I just don't know about him being the first round quarterback. If I'm drafting you in the first round, I need to know that you're able to start day one for me. And I don't think that JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix are day one starters. Bo Nix is really good when it comes to being able to process defenses. And he's also really athletic as well. He has a pretty good arm. And I think that he's a little bit of a tad below Drake Maye, but I think Bo Nix could be a day one starter. But when I'm looking at Michael Penix, I just don't really know about him. It's just something about him is just a little bit off to me. I think he's a really good college quarterback. I think he's 2BD when it comes to the NFL level. I think right now he probably would be a third round pick in my eyes. Quinn Ewers, I think he just needs to go back for another year. He's just too inconsistent for me. His game against Oklahoma wasn't really impressive. He had a pretty good game against Alabama, but I haven't really seen him take over as just this superstar, transcendent future franchise caliber quarterback. Like, yeah, if he was to declare for next year's draft, he probably would be a day two pick. He'll probably go in the second round, but he's just too streaky for me. I would like to see him go back for another year and just look more consistent. Plus, he has struggled to stay healthy. He has missed a couple of games due to injury. Like, he just got injured again. He's going to be out for like 4 weeks. So it's just with Quinn Ewers, I don't think he's a first-round caliber quarterback neither. I do like Jaden Daniels a lot more than most people. Most people view him as just a one-read and one quarterback, but I just think he has become that because LSU's offensive line hasn't really been the greatest, even though their offensive line is starting to play better. I like Jaden Daniels' instincts. I do think that he has a pretty good feel inside of the pocket, in my opinion. He knows when to bail out and when to use his legs. And also, he's a pretty nimble runner as well. I don't know if he doesn't end up working out at quarterback, maybe he should switch to receiver because he's just a really good instinctual runner. Even though he doesn't have incredible speed. He's not like a dynamic Lamar Jackson kind of runner, but he's kind of elusive and dynamic in his own way. He knows how to just break out of tackles and make guys miss. It's just really fun to watch Jaden Daniels, and I do think that he does have a pretty solid arm. He doesn't have the greatest arm, but he has enough arm strength that he can make the necessary throws in the NFL. I do think that he has pretty good accuracy. Like, yeah, he can get locked on to one receiver at times, but you can work on that with Jaden Daniels. But I wouldn't take him in the first round neither, but I kind of do like him a little bit more than I do like a guy like JJ McCarthy. Jordan Travis, I don't really think he's a NFL caliber quarterback. Like, I think if he does end up getting drafted, it'll probably be day 3, around round 6, round 7. Like, I'm just not the biggest Jordan Travis fan, even though he has made large steps in improvement every single year that he's been at Florida State. But overall, when I'm looking at the 2024 quarterback class right now, I think that this class is being severely overhyped. Going into this college football season, people made it seem like we potentially could see 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, and right now I only see 3. Like, we know Caleb Williams is a generational quarterback prospect. I think Drake Maye is kind of a little bit up there, but both Caleb and Drake Maye are having their ups and downs right now. They're having their rough patches. Drake Maye just threw the game-losing interception against Virginia, and UNC's upset loss to them. Caleb Williams and USC have lost to Notre Dame, and they've lost to Utah. They haven't really looked great against great defenses, and Quinn Ewers is just super streaky. Bo Nix, I like him. I think that he is a first-round caliber quarterback. It's crazy how better of a quarterback he's looked ever since he transferred from Auburn to Oregon. And the thing with Bo Nix is that I really like his athleticism. I really feel like Bo Nix is a better version of what we thought Johnny Manziel could have been without the character concerns. And plus, he's just a better overall player. I just think that he just sees the field very well. He throws with good anticipation. I think Bo Nix is probably the most underrated quarterback in this draft class. I see people put Michael Penix over him because he has a way more better arm. And I've seen people put J.J. McCarthy over Bo Nix. Like, I just don't see it with J.J. McCarthy. I think that J.J. McCarthy needs so much more development. I just think that people are just paying attention into how weak that Michigan schedule has been, that they're just looking at JJ McCarthy make these great throws, because he does have a really good arm. But I think a really accurate indication of who JJ McCarthy is as a quarterback prospect is his tape against TCU. I think that's JJ McCarthy to a T. But these are my thoughts on the 2024 NFL draft quarterback class at this moment. When it comes to Joe Milton, like, I don't really have him high on my board. Like, of course, I'm going to have him with a draftable grade just because as soon as he gets drafted into the National Football League, he's going to have the strongest arm in the NFL, and somebody is going to feel like they can coach that up and work with that. But he's been a pretty big letdown for me with how he's played at Tennessee up to this point this season. Now, he hasn't been bad. It's just I expected a little bit more out of him. This offense definitely has taken a step back with him at quarterback. There's been times when they just been scared to throw the football. Like against Texas A&M, they didn't really want to put the ball in his hands. Against Florida, he had an okay showing. It's just I just wanted a little bit more consistency out of Joe Milton, and I don't really think he's all that better this season than what he was last year. So I think if he was to get drafted today, he probably would be a round 5, maybe round 6 pick, because with that arm strength, like, you are going to take a chance with that, and he is a pretty good athlete. But there were people who were comparing him to being maybe possibly the next Anthony Richardson. He's not even the same kind of athlete that Anthony Richardson is. So these are my thoughts on this upcoming quarterback class with the potential quarterback prospects that we could see.